Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a deep dive on Litecoin. It has been on a 700 plus day bear market against Bitcoin. So if you're new here, you're new to the channel, we check out cryptocurrencies on the daily basis and we also compare them against the major cryptocurrencies in order to get the best returns from our money. If you love the sound of that, hit the like button down below, bell notification icon, and subscribe to the channel. So 700-day bear market, we're going to look at the news. This is really important to note because your money is just sitting dormant in a cryptocurrency project which is higher risk than something that is lower risk in the crypto space like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this isn't something that the Litecoin maxis or the Litecoin lovers or the people who are married to the coin really want to hear, and I get it. If I was married to it as well, I definitely don't want to hear the bad news, but my money shouldn't be married to anything. The money has to make more money, and if it is bleeding out somewhere, then it's just like a bad girlfriend. It has taken all your money and you just want to believe in it. You want to love it up and hope for the best. All right, so we're going to look at the data. We're looking at the data here. Let's take a look. Let's look at a few of the news updates from the last 3 months. Going to touch over them. You should know some of these by now, but we're going to recap them just with the litecoinfoundation.org quarter one report put out just a couple of days ago here. A couple of points I've highlighted here since January. So basically all of quarter one, Litecoin has gone up 55%. In the same time, Bitcoin has gone up 100%, Ethereum has gone up 200%. This is just the data. We don't need to bash on anything, it's just the data. Next thing, Litecoin, yes, the transactions have gone up. That's a good sign. It's almost doubled. So transactions per day in the first week to current range of about 100 to 116,000. So that was from 50 to 100. Pretty good stuff. That's usually the case in a bull market. Everyone's transactions go up. Litecoin numbers of new addresses created per day have also grown by about double. That's generally the case with a lot of cryptocurrencies. Average amount of Litecoin related tweets per day for the first week of the quarter was approximately 1,200. The average amount now is 2,100. So let's call it almost double, but still it's not that fantastic. If we were to look at this data for Bitcoin or Ethereum, obviously a hell of a lot more, or even some of these top 10 projects that have just shot through the rankings. Next thing, Litecoin is currently the third most institutionally bought cryptocurrency via Grayscale investments and the one with the highest premium. It's estimated that Grayscale purchased approximately 80% of all newly mined Litecoins throughout the month of February. That's a good sign. At least it's getting bought up from the market by someone big. Alongside the ongoing growth of Litecoin's network metrics, several companies have announced that they are integrating Litecoin, PayPal, Valtoro, Flare Network, Unstoppable Domains, Moon. Moon is a virtual debit card where they are accepting and using Litecoin on the card. So as you can see here, Moon with Pay with Crypto. Valtoro, you can buy and sell physical metals. So the crypto exchange where people buy gold and silver with Bitcoin. They announced here they'll have Litecoin as well as a payment. Flare Network, we've heard of that as well. It's a fork of XRP. And then of course PayPal. PayPal is accepting cryptocurrency so people can use those. All sort of stuff that we know. So I'm just doing a quick recap on those just to highlight those things. I guess the whole point of this is to look at the data and just see if there is potential for Litecoin as a pretty decent trade coming up. So this is the news. Let's have a look at the charts. Bitcoin on the daily, we're having a look at the first quarter just to really call this home. You know, this is a big cryptocurrency. On the 1st of January, sitting at around, you can see up the top here, 29,000. And then to the end of March, wow, okay, Ray is up. My alerts are going off. End of March is 58,000. So that's a double there. All right, 100% on Bitcoin, whereas Litecoin's only done 50%. Same deal with Ethereum, they've doubled. Now, overall, we want to see if we can find a trade from any of this because we've been talking about Litecoin for quite a long time. Is there any real hope to Litecoin? So I'm going to use this chart. We're going to look at Litecoin BTC. I'm going to look at the bad news first. Litecoin BTC, Litecoin Ethereum, then look at Litecoin USD. Litecoin Bitcoin. This is the chart you want to have a look at. If you don't understand why you should be looking at this, take a moment just to understand your own risk reward. Litecoin as much as we want to believe that these things are great, the least riskiest cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. If we look at where the institutional money is flowing to, the big money, the stuff that's been around a long time, over 10 years, is Bitcoin. All right, so that's the least risky. Plus, it has a huge use case. Same with Ethereum, massive use case. It's been around a long time as well. Litecoin has been around a long time, but it just doesn't have that market fit like the rest of these cryptocurrencies, the big stuff. So we're just looking for a big trade on it. You might disagree with me, that is fine. But you can't disagree with this chart. And this is the poor man's Bitcoin. It's really the poor man's Bitcoin. 700 days from the top. This was the news that Litecoin was going on its having its halving, and so the market rose up. And then from April 2019 until April now, 2 years, it has been down. This is against Bitcoin. So if you held Bitcoin from that time, then you would be much better off. You'd have so much more. Literally, you've lost from this point to this point 80% of your Bitcoin value. Now I'm beating down the point here because I want to get to a point that I think the tide is turning and there could be a good trade in it. Just like we thought there was a good trade in January, it's still looking okay. You know, we haven't lost that much ground. And just to recap, we were looking at January as a potential turn because the rest of the altcoin market was going crazy. We have just recovered and we're just slipping underneath it now, but we want to recover back to this level that the support was at back at around from November through to February. So if it can recover that support level, that brings strength to Litecoin because it has dipped down for just over a month now below the support level, and we've seen some good gains, a good move up, a strong rise, some volumes come into that as well, so that's a good sign, but we definitely need to see it close above the 0.0039. So that's what we're looking at Bitcoin as the poor man's, Litecoin as the poor man's Bitcoin, plus of how poorly it's performed over 2 years. Now the rest of this data here is looking at potential turns. So let's have a look at some of the good news. The turns. This area, how I've looked at these is I want to see at least about a 50% increase from a low to a high. This isn't saying that we need to buy the low or sell the exact top. It's just to have a look at moves which are worth our while. This sort of move's probably not worth our while. This one's not really worth our while. However, it did hold the market up for some time. And so looking at May as a turning point is a possibility because it's happened several times before. So looking back at history on Litecoin, if we throw it to a weekly so we can include all of the data in one area, get rid of this, scroll this out, then we have some good data here. March top, May bottom, July, March, June, December, March, potentially March. We've got a May top again, February top, April, December tops. So I'm just looking for potential turning points, and March happens to come up often at major turning points. The same with May. So if it didn't happen in March, I would consider maybe April would just be another accumulation period before we take off. Now for tops have come in July, May, this one's December, April, this one is June. So I'm looking at around that May, June, July area. It's not an exact science, but it gives us some sort of rough idea. The next part is the day counts. We know from the bottoms to the tops on these extreme periods, 50 days, 68 days, 69 days, bottom to top, 113 days. This move just took a little bit longer, doubled the period almost that we typically see, 50 to 70 days, and then a down. Then just a quick one here of 21 days. So this is against Bitcoin. So what I can basically come to see in this data is that if we get a move, it's potentially going to be about approximately 50 to 70 odd days of a move from the bottom. So if it takes another 2 or 3 weeks until we see Litecoin break against Bitcoin, then we would measure back from the low and then project forward 50 days as the first target and then around 70 days. It could go on longer. We know that. It could do 100 plus days. But in terms of an idea to figure out when is this going to boom, how long has it got left in the boom, this is the sort of data that I look at to figure out timeframes. So 50 to 70 days. And if I see the trend and it's looks like it's coming to the end of a trend, then I can look back and go, all right, we've been going up for about 40 days. How long is left in this move? Between 10 and 30 days, if we look at it of a 50 to a 70-day move. So that is what I use this for as well, because all too often in crypto, you have newbies coming in, they only hear about these coins when they're at these extremes, and then they buy in at these tops, and they are left holding the bags for 600 days, which they probably don't do because they'll sell out as the market doesn't do anything after a few weeks. They sell out, the next lot sell out, the next lot sell out. You can just see all of the breakdowns and the capitulations. Breakdown. This is what happens. You're probably familiar with it yourself if you've been in the market for a couple of years. You'll start to sell off as the market turns back around. You're hopeful of it here. It starts to creep up. You're like, okay, no worries. And then it turns back down and breaks down. So this is the psychology of the market and why these time frames happen to repeat time and time again. And each market has a slightly different heartbeat, you could say. You know, this is like a heartbeat monitor here. So in terms of Bitcoin, Litecoin, I think we've got a turn coming. If it's not March, then probably May. And if it's not May, if it's not April, obviously May. But even if it doesn't take off in April, it might just climb up through April, and then we get the takeoff in May, you know, that where it just shoots up. So I'm on alert here because it's getting to that period of around where Litecoin likes to do turns. May's, we can see tops, it turns in May's, bottoms in May's. There is one in April, but then if it runs, we know we've got about 2 months. So May, June, that's why it usually has another turn in around June, July. That's what I'm looking at here. Potentially, it's looking good as a setup for Bitcoin now. That's why we were a little early in January, but you just never know because it takes off so quickly, and it is such a short move on Litecoin. Let's have a look at Litecoin Ethereum to see whether this theory stacks up against Ethereum too. Now, Ethereum, same deal. It's a 700-day bear market against Ethereum. Better off holding Ethereum than Litecoin. This is the sad reality of the data on the chart, not just my opinion, which you can see from the data. That's why I formed my opinion. So the moves here against Ethereum are much shorter because these cryptos tend to move together. You know, if the market's going up, then the altcoins are going to move together, and Bitcoin's probably doing something else, you know, holding steady or falling, which happened to occur after its bull market top in December of 2017. You know, Bitcoin was going down for about a month, and all the altcoins just boomed up, and then they started to tank. So this is Litecoin versus Ethereum. It takes 18 or so days for a boom here, 60 odd days for a smaller boom, 30 days for a boom here, 90 days here, 20 days here. I think these are the exceptions, these 90-day long moves, whereas we're typically seeing sort of 20 days for quick spikes. Now, we have been on a 700-day bear market, so maybe we see a little bit longer, somewhere between a 60 and a 90-day move. I'm not sure whether we will see this 500-day move again up against Ethereum, because this was the move as Ethereum was really tanking hard after the ICO boom of 2017. So Ethereum's price was getting destroyed. Then we had the Litecoin halving. So that obviously brought a lot more basically people to the market, to Litecoin, thinking we're going to get this huge blow off top, which we didn't really. So we had this move here, 60 days, and then the 90 days, which was the Litecoin halving. So looking at Litecoin Ethereum, not as fantastic as Bitcoin, because we still need to get above this 700-day downtrend. This is my golden blue star. If Litecoin can get it back above here, about that 0.125 area, which was the support before it capitulated, then tested it again. You can see it came up, hit the resistance, and it's fallen away. This is the gold star area. This is like the first sign that we are going to outperform Ethereum. But currently, doesn't look like it's happening just yet. This is another good sign where we've got a low and then a higher low forming, which is kind of your Adam and Eve double bottom style chart pattern. Good things. So we just need to wait to see whether this holds its ground where it is, or if it falls back down and breaks through that 0.09 against Ethereum. Ideally, this is a safer entry point, but nothing, you know, it's cryptocurrency, it's trading. Nothing is guaranteed ever in any trading. Any professional long-term trader is going to tell you that nothing is guaranteed. There's just higher probabilities of certain things happening. And I see this as a higher probability setup rather than buying here, just in case we continue to fall because we see Ethereum take off. You know, that's the risk we take here now that it has fallen below all of its old previous low points, even though we're starting to form some sort of accumulation. So this is the safe point here. Litecoin, Ethereum. Doesn't mean Litecoin can't run against the US dollar. So that's our last chart to have a look at. These are the patterns here on the US dollar. And now this is a much more positive chart, which is why I assume most people look at the dollar chart. It just makes you feel a lot better because your dollars are going up. Like we saw with Bitcoin, sorry to bring the mood back down, you're better off just holding Bitcoin throughout this whole period. However, if this is the first time you're understanding how this works, then you're in the space here. I think this could break through. Well, it needs to break through first in order for it to get higher. That's just common sense, right? But we do have some strong resistance from February 2018, back at around $250. We have hit around 247 odd just a few weeks ago, and we're testing that 240 level again now. So that's why it's critical that Litecoin can at least accumulate in this zone between 180 and 240, and then break through, hopefully hold it as support before it takes off again. So this is a critical level at the moment on the dollar chart as well. We have started to break through. We've got about 2 days left on the weekly chart. The volume isn't as high as I would have hoped. We've got strong volume as it reached some highs and then broke out again, and we're just starting to roll over at this point. So if we do roll over, I think we'll probably reaccumulate in the zone of that 160 to 200-ish level, 220. This is a fib based on the anchored to the major low, major top, and then we look for the 50% level through to the 61% level. So a 38% drop. This is how the fib is used so that you can determine some price areas of support and resistance. Now, if we break through the top, then we've got to readjust this entire fib level. But for now, this is where it sits. On the dollar chart for time frames, March, September, December, June, December, March, September. You're seeing a pattern here. This is like every 3 months. These are your season changes. December is your winter in the Northern Hemisphere, summer for us. March, another season change. September, season change. June, season changes. I'm not saying it's connected directly to the world, but at the end of the day, everything is connected because we're all human trading these markets with all of our ridiculous emotions that run through us while we put our money down on certain cryptocurrencies, potentially getting married to them like this. But this is just a typical pattern. 1 year down, got 6 months up, got another 9 months down, 450 days up. So potentially we're getting to the end of our move up and we'll need to have a rest at some point. So those numbers were 457 from this top to this bottom, but from this major low March up to the current tops is around 443 to 390. So from this first top to the current top. So it's about a year long up as well. So we know from history that a year long moves on Litecoin tend to result in some sort of either pullback or consolidation before another move. So if that doesn't happen right now for Litecoin, it wouldn't surprise me either. So I need to be prepared for this not moving. The first sign I want to see is Litecoin to break through the Bitcoin downtrend, to break through this massive bear market that has been going on forever. That's the first thing I want to see here. Break above. Litecoin, Ethereum, I definitely want to see it break above and hold into this zone. Litecoin USD, I want to see it break above the 250 and hold above it, or at least if it slices through, then I'm prepared to get into a market like that. So I hope that made a lot of sense. Diving deep into the time frames, the prices. We will look at some price targets in future videos because right now we're still waiting on serious confirmation of an increase in price on Litecoin versus the other altcoins, the less risky altcoins. In terms of a dollar value, potentially it's going to go up if Bitcoin does something. If Bitcoin sticks where it is, you just stays at the 58,000, 60,000 for a little while longer, or takes a little bit of a fall, which I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. I think it may take a little fall. Then this could affect the Litecoin US dollar chart, which will show us holding in this zone of between 160 and 220. So that is what we'll have to be prepared for as well. I hope you enjoyed that and you got some value from this type of analysis. If you did, let us know. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue following this. So now that you've got a background on Litecoin and what it is that I'm following in terms of time frames, turning points, and pricing, and obviously understanding the cryptocurrency chart versus other cryptocurrency markets, now you can follow along and we can do updates as we go. So thank you once again, guys. Be sure to jump down below, drop your email address in our newsletter. We've got an edition coming out next week. It's a free newsletter. Link is down below. Join that. I've also got the Investor Accelerator, which you can learn more about trading cryptocurrencies over in that group. Link is also down below. Join me on Instagram and Twitter for more cryptocurrency updates. I'll see you at the next video. Go and check out the other videos there. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good educational content for you guys to follow on after this. Links are after this video too. That's enough from me. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.